Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Your Asses Degrassi, the show where we take a look at every single Degrassi episode that's ever existed. Of course, we're starting with the oldest works right now, the Kids on Degrassi Street. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Kyle.
And I'm Dan.
And we're back again, taking a look at 3 episodes from the hit TV series, the hit Canadian public access Ontario-based TV series from the late 70s and early 80s.
From on Degrassi Street.
The Kids on Degrassi Street. And today we're going to be looking at 3 episodes coinciding after the first episode. Episode 2, 3, and 4. And to start things off, episode 2, of course, my friend Daniel here is, Cookie Goes to the Hospital.
It's just as it sounds, folks.
Now,
one of our 3 characters that we've been introduced to so far, main characters, Cookie goes to the hospital.
Cookie, of course.
Now, Fred...
he makes a slight appearance.
He makes a slight appearance.
He, of course, is still Ida, who, honestly, for the record, is a bitch.
A huge bitch.
His cameo was kind of legendary because he's more or less just saying, hey, Ida, back off. I'm trying to watch TV. And she's like, oh, I'm not into hospital dramas. And he's like, well, fucking get away then. This is what I'm watching. Like, get out of my biz.
Yeah, fucking Ida comes barging home. She's the president of her goddamn club. Of course she is, because Ida fucking is the best at everything. Whatever.
Now, if
Ida rolls up. She sits down on the couch while Fred's watching
totally.
TV. And... fucking hands it to Fred. I don't want to watch this. Let's change the channel. Fuck you, Fred. Hospitals suck. And he's like, come on, dude. I'm watching.
She makes a big deal about it, which is rude for one thing, and 2, uncalled for. Now, I just want to point out that this, of course, is a franchise that deviates even before Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. So if you guys are tuning in for the first time, this is some old shit. And we're just going to go over it briefly because honestly, not a lot happens in these episodes. We're going to cover these 3 here, but as far as Cookie going to the hospital, it's as it sounds. Chick goes to the hospital because she's feeling sick. Turns out her friend Ida, who is also the president of their very important club, which I found kind of charming, I'm not going to lie.
It is charming. I think we had a club as kids.
It's respect. She feels bad for her friend because she said her friend's doll could not be in the club, which is such a kid thing to do. Fucking dick Ida.
There's a little bit of depth to this one, actually.
You know what? I will say that this episode is put together a lot better. It actually is coherent. It feels like an actual sitcom structure of like, you know, there's 3 acts to this, I feel like.
There is, yeah. First one, we get involved. We get introduced to the fact that Cookie, we get introduced to the club. And Cookie ends up
feeling kind of sick.
That's right. She's feeling kind of sick, and she leaves her doll behind at the club by accident.
Yes, right.
And then the next act is, I guess
it would be her going to the hospital and being in a children's hospital, and Ida finding out about how her friend's in the hospital, and she's all of a sudden worried. Yeah, and she needs to return her doll. And of course, she's assisted by our boy Noel, but we're going to call him Nick, I think.
We like Nick. Nick is a good name, dude.
We might change it later because we know he has an episode just about him buying a suit later. That's going to be great.
Right.
But
looking forward to that one, actually.
We're just going to call him Nick for now because we thought his name was Nick, and that's where it's at. So Nick and Ida decide to, you know, basically follow Cookie's wishes and bring her doll to the hospital. And in doing that, they stumble upon the most ridiculous setback I could think of, in which that there's a sign that says children under the age of 12 aren't allowed to basically be there in the hospital.
They're not allowed to visit patients.
I mean...
And it's like, what?
It seems ridiculous to me. That being said, I don't fucking know the healthcare system. Maybe that is a rule. I don't know.
I don't see why that would be a rule.
My mother is a nurse.
You might have to
I could give her a shout.
Give her a shout out about this episode. I might have to say,
yo, what's the deal on this? Is this actually a thing? Also, you weren't a nurse in 1979, so you probably wouldn't know. But I'll still throw it out there.
I feel like this might be something that the director made on her own as a stipulation, because
it's a dumb stipulation.
It's fucking stupid, and I think generally if like a little kid showed up at the hospital and said, I want to give my friend a doll because she's sick, a nurse would be like, that's very sweet, let me walk you to the room, say hello, and then we'll go call your parents and get you home.
I will give this...
Right? That's what the fucking...
I'll give the episode the credit, though, where it's like, I think it just comes down to the nurse just being a bitch.
I do agree.
Because we later find out that she's been having a rough day.
That's right.
So, I mean... Normally,
this day will never end.
Normally, I think you're right. She'd be like, that's the rule, but sure enough, yeah, you really want, you're being here being a nice, sweet kid. Of course,
Yeah.
come by. But she was on some shit that day, and she wasn't about to let anything slide by.
Well, Ida tries to slip through a few different times. She makes some pretty sad fucking attempts while
Yeah, it's
Nick's
pretty
fat
bad, yeah.
ass just watches.
Whoa. Don't talk ill of Nick like that.
Okay, well, I
dude.
love my boy
That
Nick,
dude,
okay?
like, honestly, he rocked that fupa, like, and didn't even fucking care. He was trying to stop putting his elbow, like, on the wall, like, basically pushing the fupa out, letting people know what he was about, and I fucking fully respect Nick for that.
Dude, I also respect Nick. He's rocking his flub. He's got his chub on point.
His flub chub.
But, yeah, his flub chub. He was just watching. You know what I'm saying? Just watching. He's like, I ain't doing
Hey, he had.
But in all fairness, it was Ida's gig. She should have made
the
moves.
ideas, though. He had the ideas.
He did have some
He was
strong
a
ideas.
bit of the mastermind. I'm not gonna say, like, she was sleuthing around, trying to do a bit of a sneaky skit. Honestly, it wasn't funny, but you know, it was cute enough. I can get into it, but nothing else happens. Let's just put it out that way. Let's be frank. Essentially, she eventually is able to give the doll to Cookie.
Cookie gets the fucking doll. Her appendix is removed. All is good in the neighborhood.
And there's two things we'll bring up. First thing being that the rule that as the president that Ida set up
Right.
was that there could be no dolls allowed in the clubhouse
100%.
because she is just a bitch and doesn't like dolls. Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, not
Fair. Ida's the president, so she makes the rules.
We'll go by that. Moving on, though, the nurse says that it's a rule that they can't go, as kids, they can't go up to see their friend.
Right.
But, Daniel, what was the lesson of the day?
The lesson of the day here is sometimes rules can be changed.
Which I will say is not that great of a lesson.
No, it's pretty sad.
In fact, a little misleading because I don't know if I agree with it.
Sometimes rules can't be changed.
Yeah. I mean, it's a double-sided thing,
Well,
I guess.
it's also true. Sometimes rules can be changed. Sometimes rules can't be changed.
But I don't think this felt like a real rule. It kind of felt more like two stubborn people.
Yes.
And I don't think this is a proper message to be sending kids.
Right. I think
when people are just being stubborn. There's a deeper meaning
Agreed.
to this.
Sometimes the message is these people fucking suck. They should choke a dick and die.
Wow.
But
I'm actually going to go no comment on that.
You're going no comment on that one.
No comment on that one, yes.
We were doing so good before. God damn it.
Well, my bad. Maybe yours. I don't know. Yeah. And so, I don't know.
But the lesson was that sometimes you make exceptions for your friends. You accept them for who they are. That's the deeper message here.
Not strictly a rule per se, but more so, exceptions can be made for the greater good.
Yes. Boom.
For the greater good.
So,
but hear me out. Like, in terms of what we last saw, because the last episode we talked about on the first episode of Kids of Degrassi, the hit Canadian podcast covering the classic Canadian TV show Degrassi.
wow, that's a fucking double whammy. Shout out to Canada's 150.
Yeah, actually, hashtag quick. If you guys aren't hashtagging right now, are you a Canadian? I don't know.
Well, I don't think Twitter's strictly Canadian.
Well, what about Canadian Twitter? They're Canadian.
Is there
Twitter.ca.
I think it's the same owner.
Is it though? Actually, it probably is. Besides the point, moving on from the first episode, the very first episode of this series that we watched last episode, to this one, what did you notice? To me, it seemed like there was a lot more.
The dialogue,
production quality was a bit better.
Yeah, the production quality was better. I thought the dialogue was a little more intricate. Like, okay.
I gotta give these kids props, honestly. Like, for kids given what they're given and how fucking young.
1981 for this episode.
When was this? Yeah, this is a good question. Look at this one. 80. The production was probably a little bit wrong. According to the wiki, it's 80.
Right.
And probably produced or released in 81.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so yeah, for 1980, like fucking early on, and like honestly, Canadian production and especially in television is always like 15 years behind.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, we had Canadian Idol not too long ago. Like it's really that kind of thing around these parts. Canada's Got Talent got half a season. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So
that's fucking sad.
Let's think of it that way. So I think for the time it was made and the script they were given, these kids are pulling through.
They're doing not a bad
keep in
job.
mind, these are actually 10 and 8-year-olds. Like,
that's right. It's all accurately cast. No, well, they would be a little older now, right?
right, okay, yeah, fair enough. But for when they are being filmed or when the script was given to them, they were that age.
Yes.
So, whatever. Respect. I mean, Ida, honestly, the fact that we both can basically hate you on screen says that you're a decent actress.
That is very true.
So I can't hate on her too much. I'll put it that way.
She could just be being herself.
Well, even then, I mean, it
works well.
That works well. Do what works for you. I think one more thing I'll mention is that we do get an actual title sequence and an opening sequence and credits.
That is very good to note.
And
yes.
I think that is something that we will definitely be bringing up later on in the show because there's some iconic. I'd say iconic openings to the Degrassi series. This one there's no words, it's just kind of a little tune, but there's some really iconic imagery, especially of like a corner store, which is used in Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High and replicated in Next Generation. That's iconic imagery. And we also do get a sign, like a street sign that says Degrassi.
I think it actually says Degrassi Road on it.
Yeah,
we'll have to double check.
Yeah.
But
Degrassi Street, I believe.
Does it say Degrassi Street?
Yeah, Degrassi Street, yeah.
Because for some reason I remember thinking like, oh.
Well, the show's called Kids on Degrassi Street, so it'd be kind of weird if it was called...
That's what I was thinking. That's why I thought it was weird. But I could be wrong.
We'll bring that up when we watch the next episode.
But until then, I'm Dan.
And I'm Kyle. We'll be right back after this breaker.
And we're back, folks. We've just finished watching the next episode of Kids on Degrassi Street.
Kids on Degrassi Street. This is episode 3 of the series, of course known as Irene Moves In. Originally aired on September 1st, 1981, exactly a year after the second episode. Cookie goes to the hospital.
Well, first off, we noticed that good old Fred has aged.
Yeah, I mean... You could tell there's been time. Like from even just going back, we've been time traveling a lot lately.
Yeah.
Like, going back to Ida Makes a Movie, which was in 1979. Already in 1981, 2 years, kids grow up. Kids age fast. You know what I mean? Facial features wise and things like that. Kids grow.
True. Also language. And hey, I got a question for you. Do you think Ida today is still a huge bitch?
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and definitely say yes.
Yeah.
That's ingrained to her.
So
unless she got a lot of shit for this. Like, think about it. Like, if you were a kid, like, this thing. If you were 8 years old, and you were on this show for, like, 2 years, and you were known as the bitch on the show, and then you had to come back to elementary school, I don't know, man. That's a rough look, kind of.
That's true. Maybe that forced her into more of a bitch role.
It could have been.
It could have went both ways, actually.
I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to hope that she changed her ways.
Right.
But I can't say for certain. I'll put it that way.
Let's hope.
That being said, of course, even extreme amounts of bitchdom have occurred with Ida in this episode. Like, I don't even know where to begin. Irene Moves In is by far the most eventful episode so far, I would say.
Very much so. It felt longer than the other ones, noticeably, too.
It was...
I think the runtime is probably the same, but it did feel longer.
It might be a little longer. I'm actually not too sure.
I think it's just because so much more happens. Like, we're introduced to a new character, Irene.
Yes, she moves in on Degrassi Street with the rest of the gang. Of course, our good friends at this point, Cookie and Noel.
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 Is it Noel?
They kind of say Noel, but his name is kind of spelt like Noel. I can't really say.
Right. Now, I think we should mention, okay, remember the rules of the club, okay?
Yes.
If you want to be in the club, first of all, now you're okay to bring a doll, that's fine.
Yes,
but
we went over this.
You need to have the letters I, C, or N in your name.
And you also have to live between 94 and 100 Degrassi Street.
That's right.
And just coincidentally, we have a new character named Irene who moves in to 95 Degrassi Street.
And her name starts with an I.
Of course. So she qualifies for the group, although immediately, for whatever reason, just because Ida's a bitch, essentially, she doesn't like Irene as soon as she sees her. Now, I'm going to be frank.
I think we should.
There's an aspect of this episode that is hard to ignore. I'm not one to get political here, to be honest. But I feel like the episode has slightly forced me. Not even political, I don't know what you want to call this. Express opinion, I guess you could put it. All the characters up until this point that we've seen have been white. like main character wise, all completely white people. The one person of color who moves into the street is the one person who Ida hates for no reason.
Right.
Basically, like, honestly, I'm not just saying this like no reason. She's like, I just got to look at her and I don't like her.
Yeah. So first of all, the minute that Ida notices that she's Asian, we don't know that for sure, but the minute Ida notices Irene, she can tell by looking at her that she doesn't like her.
And it's honestly just a failure of the episode, because not even the writing, because in all honesty, the show is just trying to spin it as like Ida's jealous of a new girl on the block, doesn't want to take her spot.
Right.
But it's like, in the context visually of the show, it comes off very inappropriate, to be honest. We couldn't help but feel a little awkward watching this, let's be honest.
And we are living in a pretty political correct time and place.
The point,
so we're
honestly, like,
we're hyper aware of this. But then again, given the year, we're coming out of the Vietnam War.
There's a lot of aspects of this that might, I mean, I'm going to just be honest. Like, it's not the kind of thing where I honestly think we're reading too much into it. It's just outright awkward.
It feels for sure awkward.
Like, it's the kind of thing where it's like Ida is just, being a fucking brat and doesn't want to lose her friends to a new person on the block. But the language she's using, like, I just don't like her. I just don't like her. She even says, like, her kind or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or her type. Or it's just like...
Yeah, she's not my type.
It's just so... Yeah. It's cringy.
It's very cringy.
And I would just honestly just outright say that, like, any point of view aside, it's just awkward to watch.
But let's jump into a positive for a second.
But I mean, I don't know if I necessarily call it a negative. I just would say that up until this point, the show has been so just by the numbers, super safe on everything, and the fact that they did something like this was a little shocking, I have to admit.
It's been very innocent up until now.
What's going on right now?
Yeah, it's been, and I think we're probably nitpicking a little bit here, but
I don't know though. It's maybe a bit, but I would be hard pressed not to bring it up. We kind of just had to bring it up.
We had to bring it up, so we've definitely noticed that maybe is something that happens. But more or less, we do find out towards the end of the episode that they are conflicting personality types.
Well, and it's not even just a thing where Ida just is being a bitch, because that's the frequent,
that's what we've known up until now. That's what we've known
up until this point. It's not even just that. It's more or less, we do find out that Irene is bossy. She wants to control Cookie.
They're both rude. They're both bossy.
They're both bossy people. So it is. I'll gotta give our girl Linda props again, because that's not what I expected. I just expected fucking Ida to be a bitch again.
Yeah, 100%.
But it turns out that
they both were doing right and wrong things the whole episode.
A little bit,
until they came to terms with each other. Yeah. A little bit.
And it's
so. First of all,
it's just weird.
Cookie is the nicest girl on the planet, okay?
Oh, Cookie's a sweetheart.
She's a sweetheart.
We were saying Noel's our favorite character. I'm going to change my answer right now, and I'm thinking Cookie's my new favorite character.
Yeah, Noel's almost a little dopey at this point. It's like, Noel, get off your ass a little bit. Do something.
I also feel like Noel is just kind of answers, or just kind of does whatever Ida wants to do.
Yeah.
Whereas Cookie's a little bit more vocal, where she's upfront like, oh, I just want to be friends with everyone.
Yeah, and she's
I'm a
like,
good person.
She's like, Irene's my friend. Why don't you like her, Ida? That was mean.
Seems
don't
perfectly
do that.
fucking fair to me.
Yeah, totally. So Cookie stands up for people. She's nice. She's willing to help people out. She means well overall. Fucking Noel is kind of just like...
He's just chilling back.
He's just riding the train, dude, riding the waves.
In all fairness, it's like, he's not really in the episode much. If he was in a bit more, maybe he'd have more, like, input.
True.
That being said, what he is in, it's lackluster.
But that's okay, because next episode, I got a feeling we're going to see a little bit more Noel. Yeah,
we did see that episode title.
But... let's talk a little bit more of the specifics of the episode for a second.
This is the one I'm almost just surprised how much happens in this episode. A lot actually goes on, because there's even some depth to it, because we do also find out that there has been an absence of Ida's father in the episodes, but I never once thought that, like, he just wasn't there, to be honest. But it turns out that he doesn't live with them. Assuming that they're separated.
He lives in the West Coast, I think is what she said.
And it's kind of this awkward confrontation where Irene comes up and is really asking a lot of questions. She just wants to get to know people. She's very personable. just to the point. And I don't think Ida likes that because she's also like that. And she's not prepared to answer back. And so when Irene asks, so where's your dad? She says, oh, he's in the West. It's kind of fucking awkward.
It is awkward because Irene goes, oh,
Yeah,
as
and
if like, oh, I don't know what to say.
There's a pause, and you can feel that tension. You could cut it with a knife.
Right. And she tries to switch the subject and say, because they're painting a new sign for the INC.
But then again, Irene is also a little bossy. She's trying to be like, oh, do it this way. I'm Irene.
I think she's got good intentions, right? Because she's trying to say it's going to be easier, guys. Try it this way. She's not saying it very nice.
That's exact. It's the tone, but then again, you're a new kid. You know, you're just trying to fit in. Fair enough. Fair enough.
True, but also she just shows up and she's trying to tell people what to do.
It's
kind of like whoa.
It's a little like
she's
whoa.
like, do we got a mini Ida on our hands?
I can appreciate the back and forth on that because you go back and forth, and then eventually Ida and Irene have a bit of an altercation. And they're
both trying to boss around Cookie.
Well, actually, only Irene's are trying to boss around Cookie, and Ida's trying to like stand up for like Cookie doesn't want to do that. Like leave Cookie alone.
But I think Ida's doing it for selfish reasons because she's like, whoa, you're trying to boss around the girl that I boss around.
Yeah, and
stop that.
And she kind of just knows. Like I will give Ida credit in the fact that she thought she'd be bossy and she was.
Right.
So maybe she can tell someone's personality from looking at them.
Dude,
maybe that's
I don't
the
know.
point. I don't know, but
maybe she was threatened. She was like, "Whoa, this chick seems like she's gonna stomp on my parade a little bit."
She like got that vibe and she rolled with it. It was a little weird, but I digress. And so eventually, her parents, Ida's parents, and Irene's parents decide to have like I guess they have to get together, work on a committee of some kind or election.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're probably volunteering for an election.
It's kind of honestly strange.
That's a Canadian thing.
Yeah, people get together.
Maybe American too.
Maybe they're canvassing.
Well, I think it's like maybe it's election night and they're going to take polls.
Right.
Because that's like a common thing that occurs here, and I don't really know how many volunteers there are like elsewhere.
I guess in like your local community. And I will say they are again trying to really like push home that idea of the Degrassi community a little bit more. We get the same opening as the last episode. So I guess you're right. I could see that. And because of this, though, Ida's mother tells her daughter, Ida, that, oh, Irene's going to be coming over and staying for the night and Fred will watch you two.
Yeah.
And immediately Ida's like, I don't want that girl here.
Yeah.
I don't want her in my house ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Ida, take it easy, chill.
So far in most episodes, we're finding this theme of her mom kind of pointing her in the right direction.
Right.
And she kind of follows it, but she does it in her own way.
But I'll bring it up only because she says this line where she says, why are you so scared of change? And I can't help but to make the assumption that, she's hurt from her father leaving. There's a level of abandonment issues.
That's where things get deep.
And I gotta say that this is a very simple episode, but they really lay everything out there for you. I'll be honest with you, we're not really trying to dig that fucking deep into this shit, but it's there.
It is.
And I'm gonna give props to this episode for that because I kind of liked that.
Given the budget and the child actors and how they've slotted the roles, like being accurate of their age,
right?
And stuff like that.
That's continually getting better and better.
It's getting better and better. So far, it's doing a pretty good job. Now, is it the best show ever? So far, absolutely not.
And I will say that Irene is like on par with the rest of the children acting in the cast.
Yes.
Like
she fits in very well.
She's not as great as Ida or Cookie, but she's on par with like Noel, I'd say. Or Noel, whatever.
Right.
She's up there, like Fred maybe. She's on like Fred's level, I think.
Wow. Yeah, she's up on Fred's level.
She's like a little bit better than Noel now that I think about it. Yeah. She's like on Fred's level. And
exactly, because she does smaller things like, okay, so there's a Sasquatch that shows up.
I forgot about that aspect.
I don't know if I want to talk about that too much, but like,
dog that keeps showing, and like, I think I called it right away. I was like, that's gonna be the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
And it was just like them being scared of a Sasquatch, but I guess it is worth noting because they all get scared of the Sasquatch while they're having a sleepover, and so they all decide to be brave and take a photo of the Sasquatch so they can face a fear together. And that brings them together.
That brings Ida and Irene together.
And they end up basically apologizing for all the stupid shit they got mad at each other for.
Yeah. What I was getting at is there's an exchange of the camera where Irene, like that shows kind of Irene is a little bit more like she's got a little oomph, like a little gusto as an actor that puts her above Noel.
And you got to think too that like she's that new girl trying to stand out. You know, she wants to also like. She also makes a little quip at the end saying like, "Oh, someone's the next election for the president of the club."
Yes,
it's kind of like.
Yeah, because I just like
try to take over a bit.
Yeah. Oh well, they've got similar personality types, right? They're they're gonna push each other. They can clash. But I mean, hey, that happens in real life. That's a thing, right? Mm-hmm. So
I feel you. Okay, so let's get down to.
It's talking about they've gotta learn to work together. They're growing as kids, all that kind of stuff.
I think maybe like what do you think the lesson of the day is?
Ooh. The lesson of the day is don't judge a book by its cover.
I agree with you, and I'm also going to throw in like the golden rule. Treat others as if you want to be treated. It's that kind of idea, basically.
Yeah.
It's just basically respect everyone.
So there's give couple different lessons in this.
I mean, like...
It's a pretty jam-packed episode.
We may have sounded negative at the beginning of this episode about like some of the awkwardness. I didn't necessarily say that as a negative. I just found it to be frankly awkward. It was just awkward.
It was something that we needed to get out of the way.
But with that also included, this is the best episode so far, and I think they're up in the game.
They're progressively getting better, and actually, originally when we discussed it before, I thought they were going to get better. You thought like they were going to get worse.
Well, I didn't necessarily think they were going to get worse. I thought they were going to be of the same quality. I was like, these first 4 are all going to be shitty,
right? And then after that, it'll get better, right?
But I've been proven wrong easily because I would say the second episode was better than the first by a little bit, not a lot, but enough.
They've learned a lot.
This one is a significant jump, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. So we'll see you guys after the break. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for still tuning in on this great episode of Your Ass is Degrassi. We're here to talk about the 4th episode of this series, The Kids of Degrassi Street. Now, this one, of course, is mainlined and headlined by our boy Noel, which we have clarified now is Noel, not Noel. And this, of course, is the episode Noel, or Noel, buys a suit. This aired in May of 1982, so this was a year after the last episode, Irene Moves In, And it's the last of the 4 shorts that would lead into the full series, Kids of Degrassi Street. We didn't make this clear earlier. The first 4 episodes of the show were all shorts, just made by the same people in the same production company in Toronto.
On the same street.
They're on the same street, just talking about Kids on Degrassi Street, and the idea kind of stuck. They ended up making another 22 episodes for the series, which we will be covering after this episode. But this episode, of course, is number 4, and that is Noel buys a suit.
And
Noel.
weirdly, it doesn't focus around Ida almost at all. It's totally focused around Noel. We don't see a lot of Ida. Matter of fact, we see more of this fucking Chuck character.
And I don't fucking like Chuck.
We don't like Chuck.
I'm not into Chuck. I just not into him. Ida, though, shout out for being the only character to be in every episode so far. Respect. No sign of Cookie. No sign of Irene. I'm going to go no comment. And,
we're just hoping and praying that they come back.
Yeah, I miss Cookie because so far, she's still my favorite character, I guess, technically.
Cookie's still my favorite character, too. But
in this one, though, of course, it's fronted by our old boy, Noel. And Noel is kind of at a crossroads in his young life in the way that his father, is going to marry a new lady. And he's a little jealous, and he's feeling a little bit of animosity towards her. But nonetheless, he is, asked to go buy a suit for the wedding. And he's kind of given the opportunity to go buy a suit on his own. And as he's going to buy the suit, he stumbles across his good friends, Ida and Chuck.
Oh, fucking Chuck.
Fuck Chuck. The hashtag fuck Chuck.
So they help him pick out a suit. They all... this episode kind of is slightly dated because the sense of fashion is obviously totally different than it is now. So when they're picking out a suit, you kind of think like, oh, that suit
Hold on, though.
seems okay.
Where are they picking out a suit at? That's my question.
Oh my God. None other than Moore's.
Hey, honestly, if you want to be, if you want to look good, if you want to look suave, if you want to be good, looking for the ladies and or men, check out Moore's. Moore's is where it's at.
They've got more.
They got more and more. Moore's. I'm just curious. Do you think this is a very early example of some product placement? Do you think Kids of Degrassi Street got a little kickback. Is this like the is this the Dollar
really
Shave
don't
Club?
fucking think so. I mean, I wish we could tell how many viewers we had. You know, in some of the TV shows, there's just stats like that. I wish I found any stats on.
Yeah, I can't see any. I can't see
how many
definite
people
ratings.
were watching. Kids on Degrassi Street.
Well, as far as I understand, it was originally just broadcasted on the CBC, but then later on, I think after its complete airing, it was aired in the BBC, like in England, and then also on ABC TV in Australia, according to the wiki. So my guesses are honestly like maybe more so in those other areas I just mentioned, but in terms of like its initial audience, it's probably just like Ontarians. Is that the proper term? Torontonians? I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Residents of Ontario. That's my guess.
Let's put it that way.
And then again, you got to consider residents of Ontario who in 1980 had TV and were watching, like children nonetheless. Honestly, probably not a lot of people.
I'm thinking not that much. It's still the most densely populated province
That's
in
true.
Canada.
That's a very good point. I mean, we have a narrow-minded idea of that. Like anything public access in our neck of the woods, no disrespect to those shows, don't get a lot of attention.
There are 6 people watching out here. There's probably 1,000 watching out there.
Yeah, that seems pretty fair to me.
If that's the difference,
a rough estimate,
roughly.
That seems pretty fair to me.
So okay, but who knows? Maybe by the episode 5, a couple thousand were tuning in.
I would make the assumption that once it starts becoming an actual series, like a serial series, then. Yeah, I'm sure people are tuning in because it was a weekly show. I'm sure people are coming in every week.
They did find some funding, and in that case, maybe Moore's was a sponsor of some kind.
I'm just still thinking Moore's had kickback, for sure, because we see it a couple times.
You mean like the show got kicked back?
I think the show got kicked back. I don't think they didn't pay Moore's. Hell no, they don't have the budget. Have you seen the show?
Fuck no, they wouldn't pay Moore's.
There was not even lighting in the hospital in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago.
Oh, bud. Is there any lighting, like...
I think
throughout the show,
the houses are well lit. I'll give them that. The houses look decent.
Just light fixtures, though, not like fucking extra lighting.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. But anyway, so Noel goes to buy a suit at none other than the greatest suit place in all of Canada, Moore's. And he finds a suit that, as you were saying, Daniel, it's kind of hard to understand. Like, I guess the joke is that the suit is a little maybe like extravagant or... not
like it's more outgoing than what he was originally planning on going for.
It's this checkered suit or a check suit, as they say.
Yeah, they call it checks.
And it's, I guess, it's a little more, I don't know, outgoing or showy than like a regular black suit. I don't know.
Right.
Black and white kind of like attire. But to me, it didn't really read as like too much.
No, it looked very normal. Like, it looked like a decent suit.
I mean, if anything, the pants maybe are a little like...
But the thing is, we don't really have any idea because he's told, make sure you pick something practical, Noel, and make sure, because Noel's going alone to get his suit, pick something practical, Noel, because you're a responsible boy. And meanwhile... And also pick something that sometimes less is more. Do you think that's a tie into Moore's a little bit?
I'm going to say less is Moore's, bro. That's all I got to say. I'm thinking Moore's gave some cash to this shit. I will also say that line is said by the soon-to-be husband or wife of Noel's...
Could be husband, too.
Yeah, soon-to-be spouse
really tell.
of Noel's father, Gail, who is kind of cramping Noel's style and kind of getting in his biz quite a bit. In fact, she's like... oh, well, we want to pick out wallpaper, so you have to go alone, basically, which is kind of cruel in a way. I gotta be honest.
She's being a little childish towards Noel.
It's a little strange, and that
fucking
confuses
Noel
things.
Is what now, 9 or 10 max?
Yeah, I think he was 10 in the hospital episode, so he might be 11 now.
So maybe he's 11.
Theoretically.
But he's fucking cooking dinner. He's unloading fucking insulation from his dad's truck. He's shopping for suits himself in fucking Toronto.
And he's like picking out paint colors, and he like knows the certain like color coding. He's like, it better be avocado green. Come on, guys. It's easy. Shaking baked chicken. You just shake the chicken in a bag. Done deal.
Yeah.
The kid has.
He's got fucking gusto.
He knows what he's into. He knows what he's up to, and he does it well. And Gail does nothing but really hold him back. And I kind of
Gail's-
sympathize with Noel on this one.
I'm sympathizing with Noel too, because I feel like Noel makes no aggressive moves. Matter of fact, there's a scene where he kind of stands up for her, and he's talking to Chuck, and he's going, "No, Lisa," his sister, Noel's sister.
Which,
Lisa,
shout out to Lisa, because she's tight.
she is tight in this, but she goes to Chuck. No, well, Chuck makes a comment to Noel and says, "You better fucking leave before she kicks you out,
Right.
Noel." And Chuck goes, or Noel goes, "No, she's really nice, and plus Lisa likes her, and my dad seems happy." He's fucking defending her.
Honestly, fair enough response for any kid who, only have one parent and you're looking for another person to come into your life.
Yeah.
He's super reasonable about it.
Very chill about it.
But, like,
then next thing you know, Gail's fucking jumping down his
She's
throat.
causing a ruckus, honestly, out of nowhere. I gotta be honest with you.
She's fucking jumping in and cooking supper, and Noel's
like,
trying to cook
whoa.
supper like that's his vibe.
He, looks at that pot with disgust. She's
Yeah.
cooking a meal in
There's
the
a
kitchen,
fucking straight up zoom in,
and,
man.
you know that, there's a fried head in there. She's nothing but a witch. That's all I'm saying. And things are getting heated because he ends up buying this suit that I guess is extravagant. And again, we're not entirely sure. And
It's tough to follow.
it's hard to comment too much on that.
Yeah.
And only because the tone of it's a little strange. And it gets stranger, but we'll get there.
I get why they say it's extravagant later, but anyways.
It's enough. But so he brings the suit home, or he doesn't bring it home, actually. He leaves it there to get altered, which is kind of a weird aside, to be honest, but classic Moors. But then Gail decides that she will buy him a nice shirt to go with it, and he says that it is a neutral-looking suit. But the guy doesn't really know what neutral means.
Yeah, he doesn't
He's a
get
kid,
it.
which honestly, again, is super fucking fair. That's why the show is pretty well written for kids, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what I would fucking say. I was like, is it neutral? And I was trying to cover up the fact that
Yeah, and that's what the salesman told
Yeah.
him. You can wear it
go
on
with
any
anything.
occasion.
And he's like, I don't know, I'm a little, if you're a little bit
Matter of fact, that's how fucking Gail describes it.
she's like, is it for anything? You can wear it with anything?
Because before he goes out, he's like, "Oh, what's neutral?" And she goes, "Oh, you can wear it for anything."
He's like, okay.
He's like,
I'm
"Oh,
just even saying,
perfect."
if you're a kid who's a little embarrassed or a little apprehensive to describe a whole situation, and someone's like, "Is it like this?" You're probably gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, it's like that." He doesn't
Yeah.
know what the word means, so he's like, "Yeah, sure, it's like that." And then when he finds out that our fucking boy, not our boy, sorry, Chuck, the little bitch, he's like, everybody knows stripes don't go with checks.
Yeah, stripes will go with checks, fucking Noel.
Because Gail buys him a nice striped shirt, and then honestly, after that point, things kind of spiral. Noel gets really pissed off, kind of for no reason. He's a little bit of a bitch too, to be honest.
Yeah, Noel
Just
gets
a wee bit.
Noel gets a little bitchy. He's now taking out his pent up anger out on her, and then next thing you know, she's fucking charged. "I'm only trying to help Neil or Noel. Why are you being like this?" She's being a little whiny about it. It's kind of
unreasonable.
step
It's
back. You're trying to be the
unreasonable.
stepmom, bud. Fuck me.
Chill.
Are you an adult even?
No, yeah, you're right. She's very childish about it.
Yeah, she's very childish
And then
about it.
eventually, it's he gets to the point where he's so upset that when she finally sees the suit, she kind of snickers at, "Oh, you said this was neutral." He's like, "Don't fucking laugh at me."
Yeah, that's
I've been
exactly.
through a lot of shit lately.
Yeah, dude, that's funny because that's exactly how Noel puts it. "Don't laugh at me."
Which I think is
You're the one who
pretty
wants
fair.
neutral shit. You want everything neutral, bitch. I get what I want. I don't have to listen to you. Because he's like, "I'm the man. I cook. I work. I fucking pay my dues around this bitch."
And from our perspective as the viewer, Noel's the man of the house. The guy runs the show.
dude runs the show.
And it's to me, I'm kind of all right, fair enough. She's overstepping her boundaries. She's not taking it as easy as she should
I
be.
agree. I'm on Noel's side 90% of the
So
time.
when
I'm
she
on Noel's
snickers
side.
at him, he's inclined to basically say, "Well, fuck it, I'm not coming to your wedding." Locks the door, stays in his room. The
Right.
lock is a power move. That's a power move.
That is, well,
I think it's a power move.
think
He's
it's power
"Fuck
move?
it, I'm not."
It's a bitch move a little bit.
But it's also
Dude,
I don't need to talk to you.
Dude, a power move would be like Noel saying, "Oh, you don't like the suit? Because the suit won't be making an appearance at your wedding." And then he goes and takes the supper off the fucking stove, makes his own goddamn supper, and chills, man. He doesn't need to hide in the bedroom.
To me, that's of Noel's nature. Him just locking that door and being
okay, maybe it's Noel's version of a power move.
Well, it's a kid, dude. I'm looking at his perspective. It's he's I don't need none of your shit. I just need me. Lock door. I'm gonna do me. power move. That's where I'm at with it. He's like, I literally don't want to see or talk to this bitch. Lock the door. It's like, and send, you know?
And send. Shout out to her girl, Kim Zervinsky.
Yeah, it's like he's like, well, that's my signature. Later, skater.
Okay, I think I get what you're saying.
But I see what you're also saying. It is a little like he's hiding from the situation, which is true because he just doesn't want to talk to the girl. He's like, later. And his dad
He does get over his shit,
well,
though.
his dad comes and levels with him enough.
His dad is a very reasonable dude.
And he's not budging still, but I think his words got to him. He basically just explains, like, hey, consider how she's feeling, yada, yada, yada. And I believe what his dad's saying enough, but I'm still going to say that I think Gail was just taking it a little too far.
I think Gail needs to fucking dial her back a little bit.
I'm starting to realize,
Mind you, Noel does meet her. Noel comes a little bit over halfway here, but
I think definitely halfway, yeah.
He makes some exceptions and he decides to be the bigger man. But that's who Noel is.
That's another power move as far as I'm concerned.
That's a fucking big time power move.
Noel basically just gets over everything. He sleeps it off. He sleeps that shit off. He ends up wearing the checks with the stripes, which according to fuck Chuck, you don't do.
Yeah.
But Noel's like, I'm going to do it. You know what? I don't want to hurt her feelings.
Yeah, damn straight. But which is a little fucking slap from Noel saying,
it's like,
you fuck with me, I'm better than you. I'll wear that shirt. I don't care.
Yeah, but that's where things get a little murky with me because, well, let's get into the segment here. What is the lesson of the day?
I mentioned a couple of different things, and I think they all kind of vaguely touch on the subject.
But they don't quite stick.
It doesn't like totally fulfill the whole episodes. Like the other lessons we had was like, okay, it was very obvious, right? That was the lesson. But I would say the lesson of the day here is like, be the bigger man or be the bigger person.
Okay.
I would say another lesson could be like
what is it like? Because be the bigger man, yes, but also
I think that's the most
accept
notable
change,
one.
Maybe. Like, don't be so brought back by change. That was kind of in the last episode, too.
Or kind of, I guess you could say, like...
But he's also very worried that she's going to...
make compromises.
Okay, compromising, yeah. Being able to basically come to an agreement, I guess. Or see each other's side of the story. Maybe something like that.
Exactly. How your actions affect other people.
But what is still murky to me, though, even with all we've just said, which I think I'll apply, is, like... It's still Noel doing that. Like, you don't really see both sides. For me to even have, like... it's a little too sudden.
I think that's maybe what everything was going for, but it just comes across that Noel was a great fucking dude and solved his own issues, and basically nobody helped maybe his dad out. And that's it.
I gained more respect for Noel because we were talking a little bit of smack on him in the last episode. That's
true. Yeah, Noel's been
he's a fucking boss, actually, like a BAWS. He's a boss.
He handled shit.
He knows
got
what to
it done.
do.
And in a short period of time, he wasn't bitching out like Ida was for like 3 days over Arena.
That being
what I'm saying?
Also, that being said, Ida, she's calmed down a bit.
Well, I think we're just giving her less attention. The ratings probably dropped. They're showing too much Ida. They were like, fucking give Noel a chance.
That's true. And, it's safe to say, though, in my opinion, though, that this wasn't as strong as an episode as the last one. I was a bigger fan.
100% agree.
Irene Moves In was a bit of a game changer. A bit of a power move, actually. Power episode.
It was a power episode.
And I was into that one.
We got something a little comfy here. But I think we're moving into the rest of the season, and now it becomes more steady. So I'm expecting a few more things.
Yes, this is going to be exciting to find out. This is kind of where things are going to become a little bit more situated, a bit more routine. I have an assumption, though. I can't say for certain. But maybe we'll leave it there for now, and we'll see you guys next Friday with another episode of Your Kids of Degrassi. If you guys are fans of the show, be sure to keep subscribed here on YouTube or follow us on SoundCloud. We're on a bunch of other, like podcast-like applications.
All the social medias, all the podcast apps and websites.
Yeah, we'll link stuff in the bio. As always, show notes, stuff like that. And I will also try to find a way to watch this show. I'm starting to realize this now that it might be a bit more fun for some viewers at home, listeners at home, to like be able to actually see the show. It's a little
Right.
obscure, so I'm going to try and find a relatively legal link that I can link in the show notes where people can at least watch and get an idea, or even just see one episode to know what
Right.
we're talking about, because
At least
we-
a couple teaser trailer links. And
exactly.
Stuff like that.
Just YouTube links of like the opening or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we do realize that this is a niche idea within a niche idea.
Yeah.
But fuck it, it's what we're doing. So if you're listening, we appreciate you as always. I'm Kyle.
I'm Dan.
We'll see you next week.